Hey, this is Luke with Salt Strong. In this video, you're going to see some fun pompano fishing with a YouTuber named Thonny. He taught me some really cool tips, so I'll show you some fun footage. And then at the end, I'll share some helpful tips he gave that helped me get onto my first pompano ever on Pompano Jigs. And before we go to the footage, please know that this is provided by the Salt Strong Insider Club. This is the biggest and best online fishing club for saltwater anglers. If you're going after redfish, sea trout, snook, flounder, there's nothing else like it. This club actually guarantees you'll be catching more fish than ever before while saving money on all the tackle you need. As a member of this club, you'll have access to proprietary software that shows tides and predicts exactly when the best bite is going to be. Also, for finding spots, there's another software that actually shows you exactly where the fish are most likely going to be based on the conditions. To learn more, just go to saltstrong.com at the end of this video.
All right, so here's spot number one, and the strategy was to target bridges because they form as just good constriction zones where the current flow is elevated. This morning in particular was extremely weak current flow. As you can see, that water is just not moving at all, so this was just a way to elevate current. Here's one of the first catches of the day. Thonny pulled in a sea bass. Turns out these little pompano jigs can catch a variety of species. This was a multi-species day. We would also caught a decent amount of pinfish at this point. And so here is my first unique catch of the day, and it was a sheep's head. Who would have thought?
Oh, sheep's head. Sheep's head. Look at that, man. Sheep's head on a jig.
We worked that bridge for about 30 minutes and caught, again, a decent amount of small stuff, nothing big. And so went on to a different bridge. This was a much bigger one, as you can see. We worked this one hard. We went to different depth ranges, close to the bridge, up current of the bridge, down current of the bridge. Still no action. So we ended up pulling up, moving, and going to bridge number 3. And this is where it started happening. The sun was now out and the current flow was starting to come in. It still wasn't very fast, but at least had some current flow. And that's when the fish started biting. This was the first of many pigfish that were caught. They were all over this bridge for whatever reason. They love these pompano jigs. We were catching an absolute ton of these pigfish, and Thonny just said, hey, I know these pompano are be coming through here. Let's just sit it out, keep casting, and sure enough, fish on.
First pompano on a pompano jig. Sweet. All right, success.
So huge weight off the shoulders. We got the target species. I'd always wanted to catch a pompano on a pompano jig. We kept catching these pigfish and just kept casting though. And sure enough, every once in a while, different species would come through. Here is just a nice mackerel that Thonny caught. We released that. We really wanted to get dinner, but we wanted it to be pompano fillets and nothing else. So we kept casting, got some more pompano. Here's one that Thonny caught. Again, just undersized. Another one that Thonny just caught, just undersized. And now I hooked into a fish that was fighting harder than the others.
Nice, yes. All right, so heading on in, we had a blast out there. This is just a quick morning trip, and Thonny here got me on my first pompano using a pompano jig. Not only the first one, my first 3. So really cool. Appreciate teaching me the ropes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That was a good pompano fishing day.
We kind of had to work around and find them, but once we found them, it was game on.
Yeah.
What surprised me most is how many fish we caught. I don't know how many times I set the hook today, but it was close to a record. Many of them were little grunts and stuff.
Yeah.
But those little jigs will catch a whole lot of stuff. As far as this guy here, make sure to check out his YouTube channel. It's Thonny. He has some awesome videos, high-end stuff too. He has the really high-end equipment and really knows what he's doing. Most importantly, he's just a great fisherman and a great person. All right, so now for the tips that I mentioned. Number 1 is that these little pompano jigs are surprisingly good, and Thonny gave some good tips on these little teasers. It's just a small little teaser. Most pompano jig companies sell them, and instead of using an actual split ring, he just ties it on a loop 9. So that's what I was doing, and that worked great. But I was using these Docks Goofy jigs. There's obviously a lot of different companies out there, so I just bought the jigs and teasers separately, tied them together. Worked surprisingly good. It was really about finding the fish, and so this was the key takeaway that I got, is that pompanos seem to prefer clear water with current flow. And so the key is to target incoming current flows, right, incoming tides, and then target areas that have constriction points, where there's a big point coming out or bridges. And so in this case, we were targeting bridges and just bouncing these pompano jigs along the bottom. As soon as we had a decent incoming current flow, that's where we got the action. That's when we got the action. So these pompano roam around, and so it's just really about just putting yourself in those constriction points, spending some time with it, right? Usually I would have given up by then, but Thonny had the confidence. Is that helped us just be a little bit more persistent, and that in the end paid off. We had a really strong finish. As far as gear, really it's normal inshore tackle, just 10-pound braid. I was using the slot machine rod. It's really good to have just a nice sensitive rod. But in a nutshell, it really wasn't that complicated. It's just simply just getting yourself in the high probability spots and spending some time there and just having the confidence to use these types of jigs and just know that eventually they're going to pay off. And so now I'm going to just have these jigs on hand pretty much all my trips. And then if I'm going under a bridge on an incoming current flow and there's nice clear water, this is exactly what I'll be bouncing on the bottom in hopes that I can get some nice pompano fillets like I had after this trip. So thank you so much for your time and watching. Any questions at all, leave a comment down below. And as mentioned before, if you aren't yet part of the Insider Fishing Club, highly recommend it. Going after redfish, sea trout, snook, flounder is our specialty, but we'll of course be including helpful tips on seasonal species like pompano, triple tail, tarpon, cobia, just a variety of saltwater species. To learn more, just go to saltstrong.com. Otherwise, thank you again for watching. We hope to see you again soon.